Evening guys, and welcome back to a new video. I'm Guest75 and welcome to Mobile Info Tech. And today, a long awaited video. I already promised you guys I would do something like this. I'm gonna take a look at the Ativ S series from Samsung, and yeah, what they kind of mean, what can these phones do, and yeah, should you buy one or not if you want to have a Windows phone or if you're a Samsung fan. So let's get right into it, guys.
Like this, go that. Can you feel me, God? Can you feel me, star? Can you feel me?
So first off guys, I think you might be wondering, what exactly is a Samsung Ativ S? Well, I've got the box over here. A Samsung Ativ S is a Samsung phone with a different brand, so it's not a Galaxy, it's a Samsung smartphone, but it gets the operating system Windows Phone instead of Android. So right here I have the first Samsung Ativ S here. Came out in I think it was December 2012, so it's quite old already. So this is the Ativ S1. So it has a standard Snapdragon S4 play at the time, and of course it has a Super AMOLED screen, which was also very common in that time. I think what Samsung wanted to do with the Ativ SE is yeah, make a bid for Windows Phone. I think they believed in Windows Phone 8. This was one of the first Windows Phone 8 devices to be announced. And you can see, well, what I liked about them at the time, and still actually, is that the design is very, very, very elegant, very nice. It's still plastic, Samsung plastic, we know. But I thought it looked a lot more refined than its Galaxy siblings. This one in particular actually, because this one is based off of the Galaxy S3, but it looks a lot nicer. Now you're asking me which kind of models are there. This one came in 2012. This is the Ativ S, also known as the i8750. I think it's called TM899 in the US. But as you can see, yeah, of course it has a 720p AMOLED screen. Like I said, very nice design. Unfortunately, there hasn't really been like a standard continuation of these phones. Like in my last video you saw, I did get my hands on the new one, and that's this one. It's actually the new Ativ SE. This one came out in April of last year, and this one is based off of the Galaxy S4. Only comes equipped with a Snapdragon 800, so it's quite a bit more powerful. And of course, that's the heaviest configuration you can get on a Windows Phone nowadays. And also with this one, again, it kept the same characteristics, except that annoying Verizon logo. It's only available on Verizon, by the way. So like I said, I have this guy now for a few weeks now. And I'm also going to do a full feature review on it, but I just wanted to show it off already also in this video, since I'm doing the Ativ S. This is the Ativ SE, only on Verizon, and also the specs got a little upgraded. So this has a 1080p screen, 5 inches, so it's a little bit bigger than that one, and of course quite a lot faster. And it's based off of the S3, so it has the same 13 megapixel camera. 2 megapixel camera on the front, and as you can see again, if I turn it on the back, very, very awesome design. Some reviewers have called it the Iron Man phone because of the Iron Man look that it has, but I think again, very nicely designed for a Samsung phone. And you have to remember, these phones were here prior to the Galaxy S6 that we know now, so I don't know, when these phones came out, they look pretty good, especially for Samsung phones. I myself am not a big Samsung fan, especially the Galaxy in terms of looks. I always thought they were a little deflated, little standard, not bad, but not really exciting either. decent though. But this one, I don't know, they add a little class, a little differentiation, and there's not a single Samsung phone that has this kind of design, and I think it's very unique. So a question I get a lot with these phones, I've both used them as my main drivers for a while, actually using this one as my main driver at the moment. Are they any good? You can look at it from a bunch of perspectives. I always like to look at phones like what can they do regardless of operating system or brand or anything like that. And they're very capable phones, even for Windows phones or for normal phones. They're both very fast. Of course, this one has a quad-core processor, this one has a dual-core processor, and well, the screens are very nice to look at. They've got decent cameras, of course inherited from the Galaxy phones, and apart from that, for a Windows phone, it's a very interesting perspective because ever since 8.1, they of course had the addition of a micro SD card expansion, so you can fully use the SD card to expand your memory and put as many apps on the phone as you want. And we know the Samsung way was to get removable battery and also of course expandable storage. So these ones come equipped with that too, of course. So just put this on here. See the battery over here, and of course micro SD card, and of course in the new one, so in this one you can do it up to 64 gigabytes, and the new ones of course up to 128 and up actually. So that's also very convenient and very nice to do. Like I said, pure Samsung plastic. This one is also pretty nice. This one came with a dedicated camera button, and to this date it's still like the only regular Galaxy phone, like the regular Samsung phone, apart from the Galaxy K zoom and the other zoom, the S4 zoom, to have a hardware camera button and also with double press. So that's pretty nice. You can just press it to launch the camera, and I can start taking pictures. So it's a really cool thing that they have. And then speaking of these phones, of course they get compared to regular Samsung Galaxy phones a lot. And what I think, especially now with this one, I mean the Galaxy S III is, I wouldn't say dead, but it's been tossed into the water in terms of updates and stuff like that. This one will still get the Windows 10 update. It's now running the latest 8.1 update, so almost the latest I think. So it's gonna get update 2. But apart from that, it's still very fast and fluent, and everything works really well on it. So that's also something I noticed. It's a lot faster than similar Samsung. So if you compare this to Samsung Galaxy S III, it will run circles around it. It can even keep up with the Galaxy S4 in terms of that. And the funny thing is with this one, it's also of course a lot more fast, a lot more powerful. And this one is actually also, I wouldn't say it's faster than the Galaxy S6, but it can keep up. And that is very good, of course. Compared to a Galaxy S5, which came out last year also, of course, and this one is also in terms of fluidity and user experience, it's just a lot faster. One of the things where I can notice that, and I think that's a Windows Phone thing across the board, is the momentum. So if I swipe here, see how long it takes for the words to get to a standstill. And that's what you call momentum. That's an effect that it makes scrolling feel very natural, and Apple is very good at it, but also on a Windows Phone it just makes the experience a lot smoother. And that of course contributes to a very smooth and fluid experience. So yes, I would say in terms of Galaxies, which are running Android of course, so they have arguably more access to more apps, but in terms of overall daily usage, this will feel a lot smoother than most Galaxy phones out there. So for of course the upcomome 5, Note 5, and of course the S6. But that's not bad for a phone that came out last year, right? And in terms of camera, this one is a 13 megapixel camera. Actually, you saw on this one that it still had Microsoft's own camera interface. So the standard Microsoft camera interface. This one actually, I don't know if I'm happy with it or dissatisfied, but this one has a Samsung custom camera interface. But what I don't like is that they brought back the drop sounds. So like on one hand I think it's really nice because I've got all the cool shooting modes that you have in Galaxy phones, but on the other hand the drop sound is never been really my thing. And I think Samsung knew that, so that's why you don't have it in the Galaxy XS anymore. So I also get the question a lot, so how does it compare to a Nokia Lumia? It has some advantages and disadvantages in terms of sheer flagship models, because both of these are of course flagship models. So this one has nearly identical specs to the 930 and the 1520. And a big advantage for me over those two is that it's a lot thinner and lighter, but with the same power internally. But as you know, of course, in the Lumias, so this is a 735 mid-ranger. But yeah, the cameras on the Lumias are just a lot better, but that doesn't even only hold true against, of course, these Ativ S models, but against a lot of phones in the same price class. So you have these elaborate camera functions, and although I have a lot of functions on the Samsung in terms of camera modes, so I've turned panorama mode over here. Yeah, it's just not that elaborate as on the Nokia, or not as easily customizable. And in terms of photo quality, of course, I think this one should be a little on par with a 735, but of course something like a 1520 or 930, even today in the market, is one of the best cameras. So easily outdoes what these phones can do. Although Samsung cameras, of course, the S4 camera and the S3 camera weren't pretty bad, and that's actually where these cameras were taken from. So lastly, a question I get a lot is, should you get one? I don't know, it's very personal, I think. I've personally become, well, I wouldn't say I was a Samsung hater, but I never really thought much of their hardware, as I said earlier, but I don't know, their Windows phones have kind of changed my mind. I mean, this one is about to be almost 4 years old at the end of the year. I mean, this is a 2012 phone, and it still works pretty well. You do see it had a minor scratch from falling, so I'm not really convinced about the rigidity of Samsung phones, but just the in-hand feel and the performance. Well, it works really well, Samsung and Windows. I mean, I also get the question like, what's the deal? Like, do they hate each other? Are they gonna do anything? I, for one, actually hope that they will continue making Samsung Ativ phones, because in my experience, they're just excellent devices. I mean, the thing I don't like about Galaxies is the bloat and all of that, and the lack of updates if there's a new model coming. So I know the S6 has some problems in the software. They're still not addressed, so every time you have a few apps open, it will kick out the RAM, and your third biggest application will shut down in the background. It's not very nice, and I heard they have ironed it out in the upcoming S6 Plus, S6 Edge Plus, and the Note 5, but not in the current Galaxy S6. So that's kind of a bummer. Whereas Microsoft, of course, it's their way of doing things now. They're just all of the Windows phones get generous updates, and also this one, of course, with 8.1. Cortana and everything like that. You always have the latest updates. There's always something new. Of course, I could put Windows 10 on these phones, which is not ready. That's why I'm not doing any videos of that yet. But you can count your money on it that you're gonna get Windows 10 on these phones, and that is just something that's really nice. I mean, in terms of software, Samsung has very little to do with it. What it does pretty well, actually. So of course the camera app is a pretty nice addition in this new phone. But yeah, just the Microsoft Windows phone experience on this is just it works really well. Also, of course, brings me back to a little of the hardware of the Samsung that I've come to like. I didn't really like AMOLED screens, but on Windows phones, I mean, those AMOLED screens are just gorgeous. Like the visuals, the black on and the white letters on top of it. It just looks really nice. Really good viewing angles. And sometimes it's just like these tiles are floating on top of the surface. It just looks really nice, especially if you've got a really dark background like I do. It's just like you've got these tiles floating on this kind of surface, and you see the blacks really detailed. So that's something I really enjoy, and it's something you'll really enjoy when you're using this phone every day. Also, the hardware button has a little extra. You can actually use it to wake up the phone. It's something that Lumias don't have either. So that's a very nice touch, and it's a little cool how these back and search buttons seem to disappear until you touch the screen. So those are some pretty cool things. All in all, I think the Samsung Ativ S series, so the Windows Phone Samsungs, are a very nice blend of design, style, and I think the hardware complements the software in this case. I never thought I would say that from two of the most unlikely brands to work together, but even this old one, I still really like this classic, unique design of the phone. So yeah, if you can get your hands on them, of course, like I said, compared to the Lumia, you won't have as extensive camera apps, and updates will take longer, but you will get them. But if you're really in the market for a Windows phone, or you're a long-time Samsung user and you want to try something new, I can fully recommend these phones if you can find them. I do hope they come with unbranded version, because this is a Verizon one, and I just find the logo on top of it a little obnoxious. And it's a Verizon phone, so it's also tied to the Verizon band. So I'm using it in Europe now, and I can't use the 4G on it. I mean, this phone would be even greater for me if it had 4G in Europe. This one was a 3G phone. It's a universal international phone. So if you can just do a little bit more of this with the latest specs, so imagine like a Galaxy S6 modified with this cool metal design style with a Windows platform on it. That'd probably be on my list to be one of my next phone purchases. Well, this has been Guest75 again for Mobile Tech Info. I hope you enjoyed this video, and of course stay tuned for my future videos. So like and subscribe if you really like this video. There's lots of stuff coming up. I'm planning to do an OS War where these two will feature again, and if people want, I can do a head-on, because I also have a Samsung and a Nokia Lumia 1520, which is of course one of the big Windows Phone flagships still at the moment. So if you want to know how it compares to this one in terms of screen, speed and stuff like that, just hit me up on the comments and tell me if and what you want to know about it. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know I did, because I've really become a fan of these phones, how weird it may seem even. And I'll see you guys, hope to see you guys in the next video.